Alright guys, today we're gonna end up trying to solve a little issue that I've been having with my KWA M11 A1, the NS2 model. It's been actually having some trouble with the Hopup. So after about, when the BB gets to about 50 feet, it'll pull really hard to the left or to the right. So I'm almost certain it's got to do something with the Hopup bucking, or the Hopup rubber, whatever you want to call it. So I'm thinking along the lines it's gotten swollen. So I've got a replacement here. It's got the bearing in there too. I'll zoom in just so you can see the part. Yep, it's the NS2 version, so you kind of want to make sure that you get that one as opposed to the old version. I've got the manual here, and I'm gonna follow that for the disassembly portion of this. So this guide can also double as a disassembly and reassembly when I get to it. So let's start out with step number 1. Well, I don't have the magazine, so we don't have to worry about that. We know it's empty of BBs, obviously. I guess we just remove the stock to make it easier. I forgot about this part. Put that aside. Okay, now I see in here there's a small little thing right there. It's a little D shape. You want to push that over like that, and then you gotta push it down. You don't even have to use one of these, just use your finger. And then that pull out on the other side, just like that. And this one, if I remember correctly, you might have to use a little bit of force to push that out. There we go. So what I just did, I pushed out the other side of this pin here. We got this side. That would go in like so. Pop that out. And then you want to pull this one out now. Sorry, I'm trying to get a good view of it on the camera. So that comes out. Alright, next. Okay, that's what it is. I totally forgot about that. You have to pull it forward just enough. The home position of the bolt is on the top, that front cutout there. You gotta get it all the way back to the other one, and then twist it 90 degrees. It won't twist 90 degrees up anywhere up here. And then it should. Boom, it pops right out. So, I mean, that you're just gonna have to try it on your own. It's a little bit of finessing. Alright. Now that we got the up. I'm just kind of looking over the bolt here, making sure I don't see any issues. You will start to get normal wear and tear around here in the bottom. The paint comes off just slightly, but that's to be expected. Another thing you want to do while you're here is you want to make sure that you double check in the screws and make sure they're all just kind of snug. You don't need it all falling out on you. Alright, so those are good. And one up on the top. Oops, sorry. One up on the top there. nothing else there. We'll set this aside. Now that this has been assembled, we don't need this anymore. Set the lower receiver aside again. Take a look at it. Make sure you inspect it to see if you've got anything out of the ordinary happening. If you've got metal shavings anywhere, which there does not appear to be any in here, so that means we're good. No issues. Alright. This is gonna be, sorry if this is really kind of difficult to follow. I mean, I'm trying to keep this in the camera and everything, but it's kind of odd. So, to get the barrel out, you see here, it's obviously locked in place. So we got to start looking around on it, and you see, oh wait, we have a pin right there. So you take a look at it, make sure that it's not a one-way pin or anything. It doesn't appear to be. So you're gonna take something to push it out. Oh, that was really easy. That was a very easy pin, so don't worry about that one. And with any luck, oh, the flash hider assembly, or the outer barrel assembly if you want to call it that, most looks more like a flash hider to me, will come out, as well as the swivel sling adapter, sorry. And then carefully pull this block of a barrel out. Goes in there like so. Lines up the hole. Pull it back out. Boom. Now you've got your empty shell of the upper receiver. Set that aside. Now we've got to take a look. I've never taken anything apart farther than this, so there may be some editing involved here. There's a, let's see, hollow pin right there that looks like we need to get that out. So let's try and figure this one out. Oh wait, first, hang on. Maybe we don't. There's also a pin right there. I'm gonna try and push that one out and we'll see what happens. Alright, what I'm gonna try and do is support this. It's gonna be kind of tricky. See, hopefully when I put the hammer to this, I'll hit it up top here. It'll hit that, and then the pin can freely drop into here. So I'm gonna give that a try. Alright. The pin is now fully out. And this is now in its place. So it's not going to go anywhere, so don't worry yet. Now that that's done, let's see what happens when we take this thing apart. Okay. Okay. So that's your loading ramp. That comes in a little tiny piece like this. So essentially that was just the loading ramp retention pin. Alright, it looks like our next step will be to try and get out that pin right there. Alright, it's out. This was that little bugger. Alright. He's hollow. He's a roll pin. Don't make your day terrible. Don't confuse it with the other pin we have here. Because I've got, let's see. This is the pin to hold the loading ramp. And then that's the roll pin to hold in the center of the barrel here. So zoom back out. Oh, all right. It's half our job. Now this, we're gonna slowly push it up. We'll see what happens. Whoa, okay. There's a spring in here somewhere. Or I don't even know what is in there. Yeah, there's a spring. So be careful that this does not fly out on you. Okay, so this basically puts tension on it. Okay, so this whole assembly moves. The barrel moves, pushes in this way. I guess it's to help reduce stress on the parts and such. So give that Hopup a slight push, lift up the retention collar, I guess you want to call it, the retention collar. Set that aside, and now it won't spring anything past here, but if you were to just lift this up, that thing could possibly go whoosh and fly right out. So we'll take this out. Alright, it doesn't look like anything else is in there, so I think we're safe. Boom. What we have left here is, I'm sorry for the lighting here, this is kind of bad, but you've got a spring on the end of the barrel. You can see that. So spring comes off first. There is another bushing. See that? The bushing sits flush down here. Okay? So you pull that out. Stick that down there. Now, what we have here is a little sneaky bugger. There's an E-clip right on the end of this. So we want to be really careful when we're taking this off. Well, I'm going to try that. And she does, okay. This is basically, and you know, in an AEG, you have the Hopup, then there's that plastic piece that connects and makes the Hopup stay in the same orientation as the barrel. You know, where the barrel's got basically those square cutouts. You can see it here, but it's a little bit different on the gas guns. Now that that is out, we can start twisting the Hopup until our ball bearing friend shows his face up there. You see that? See him right, you can see him gleaming. So I'm going to put him, oh gosh. Okay. Oh, well, now that we've got that collar off, you have better access to that E-clip. So I'm going to just try and get that E-clip off now. It shouldn't be that bad. Here we go. E-clip whatever you want to call these things, is off. That was a little bit tricky. But once you get the main collar off, that lets you, that's like riding against, then you can get easier access to this clip. So now, oh yeah, you see, I believe the Hopup, yeah, it only goes, they make you take apart the entire barrel just to get to this. Because the Hopup, from what I'm thinking, yeah, you gotta push the Hopup, the adjustment part of the Hopup down, then you can actually get to the silly bucking, alright? So after all that, we finally made it to the part. Peel that guy off of there, and we're gonna do a clean. Just cleaning up all these parts, get all the oil, the silicone off of it, because I think that was what my problem was in the first place. I got oil in some spots. Okay, so now that'll just slide off. What you're left with is a bunch of parts. So if you hold on, I'm gonna clean all this up. Right, I'm back, guys. After many paper towels, everything is now very clean and without any oil on it. So you want to go, I left off after I just got into the Hopup and everything. Now that is the old one, the old Hopup bucking. Okay, we no longer need that. And the new one is right there. So now we are left with reassembling everything. Before I get to that, I want to make a note on the new Hopup bucking. I've heard, I don't know, reading online and all that stuff, the forums, that when you get a new bucking, it's always good to wash it with dish soap and warm water. So if you want to follow that principle, I don't really see any harm in doing that. So you might. So you see, we've got a mess of parts here. Well, let's start with the barrel again. You remember how we got the barrel off? Well, I am forgetting as well. So let's look at the parts again. The parts diagram. And the barrel. I always forget which way the cut goes. The cut always goes up. So that makes it 10 times easier. Now, put this guy on. We're going to put the bucking on. There's a little dimple for the nub. So obviously that goes there. You're going to make sure you get that little square cutout that goes at the bottom. And it sits nice and snug. It's not moving around. It's in place and it's strong. So we're going to go ahead and slide this over carefully. Okay. Now we just want to. So now, what we want to do, I'm going to reuse the old bearing. You can see it in my fingers right there. No sense in using the new one. It's not like they disappear or anything. Alright, and I guess the trick is to put it where the dimple is. Remember, the dimple is the top of the Hopup, because obviously you don't want to spin your BBs backwards or forwards. Push that little bearing down with your thumb, and it's difficult to see, but you see it right there? It's shiny. It's just underneath there. So now you can easily turn it, and boom, we're good to. And another indication if you're just getting confused at which way the orientation of the barrel is, remember there's that square cutout on the bottom of the Hopup bucking, right at the tip. It's square, not round, so that's the bottom. Now that that is in place, on to the rest of the assembly. So let's do this. Okay, so the next part ends up being our clip, because remember we took that off last, but we took it off just before we took the housing off. So that, there's a little cutout on the barrel for it, so all you do is get it in that cutout, and press it home. Okay, now it's in there. That was tougher than... Alright, I'll stop being a baby. Next, this part goes on, that like collar thing, and it allows the Hopup to only move like a certain amount. So you don't end up twisting it all around over the place. It gives you the range of adjustability. Now I gotta remember which way. Okay, the orientation of this, if this is the bottom, the Hopup, the ball bearing, the ball bearing is up at the top. This is the bottom. It's gonna go in like this. So the flush side is facing the front, and the hollowed out portion is in the back. And we're gonna... Okay, I just realized you could probably put that on before the C-clip. That way you get it aligned and you don't chance breaking that piece. So what I would recommend, don't do what I did. Before you put on that the E-clip, slide that piece on, and then you won't have to worry about possibly breaking or damaging that piece. Alright, so now you see it can only move in between there. The next part that goes on is that little bushing. Slide that down on, and voila, good with that. Okay, next part, spring. Spring goes right on there. Alrighty. Looks like we can go ahead and begin placing it in the barrel housing. Alrighty. Let's make sure I didn't forget anything. That's our feeding ramp. 2 pins that we need. Pin for a different part of the thing. Don't worry about that yet, because this is a small pin, roll pin, big pin. I'll show that again. Small pin, roll pin, big pin. Small pin, roll pin, big pin. Now, what we're going to want to do now is place this back on there. Like before, remember to use your finger and push in the Hopup, the shroud. So push that down, because you got to compress that spring to allow the collar here to clamp onto the barrel. Now your barrel's not going anywhere. You don't even need to use any Teflon tape to secure that whatsoever. Get your roll pin. Roll pin. Stick that guy. Let's see which way we do this. Okay. Alright. This is stupid. I need just a little bit more. Alright. Perfect. You want to get it just in so it's flush. No more. You don't need to use much force. It was just the weight of the hammer doing it for me. Next, stick the feeding ramp back in its place. Now the orientation goes, it's like the bottom of the slide. It's a little dip, and the pointy bits go up into the chamber. If that's still confusing, just look at the manual and it tells you everything. There we go. No problems. Everything's flush. We're back to normal. And it's all back to where we can just continue our basic reassembly. Get our up receiver. Stick that in there. We will want to put this in. That outer barrel has a little cutout right at the end where my ring finger is right there, so you want to put that at the bottom because the pin is gonna be there. Oh, I forgot something important. If you want to take your swivel sling adapter, you can always take it off. Remember, it goes on this way, not the other way. Pin slides easily in there, no hammer necessary. Okay, and now you're back to your basic assembly. Alright, now the next part that we have to do is put back the bolt into the lower receiver. Now, I just realized when I was taking it apart I probably looked like a fool, but that little brass piece fits into, there's a little notch right there, and it can't move any more out of there. So it goes up and back, up and back. So you can either try and hold that in while you're trying to push the whole bolt back, or I think I'm going to try and do this, leave it out, put the bolt in, and then just slip that thing in there. Boom. Just like that. Now the bolt's not going to go anywhere. He's in there. Next, you want to get the bolt of the gun into the slide rails. Okay, now's the time when you want to put the charging handle back into its spot. I get that in there. Alright, now that that's in, push everything back, down and in. It goes down and in, and then you can put your pin in. slide the other plastic piece in, pop it in, and you're good to go. You successfully completed changing the Hopup in a KWA M11 NS2. It's a daunting task, so don't take it lightly. You're going to have to take the whole gun apart, except for you don't have to worry about the lower, but you're going to end up taking the entire upper receiver apart. So, I hope this helps anybody who's needed to end up replacing that.